Select generate e-token. Then select the account you want the money to come from. From there, you select the currency that you want. If they're Liberian dollars or US dollars. Then you put in the amount that you want, whether $10 or $20, you put it in and generate your e-token. It's simple. Come to you. Go to any Ecobank ATM. Go to any Ecobank ATM. All you have to do, express cash on the ATM now. The place where on the ATM now. The place where you're supposed to put your ATM pin, that way you pull out 8 number. Then it will ask you for the amount. That money where you generated, that money will come with the ATM will pay you.
So simple. Ego balance for me again. I will always make use of the express service big time. EcoBank, the Pan-African Bank.
Many Liberians suffer silently. Hosted by the Camara Sickle Cell Project and MTS Sickle Cell Foundation in partnership with Sickle Cell Association of Liberia. It's Liberia's first ever sickle cell awareness webinar live on Facebook. Stop the stigma. No, it's not witchcraft. It's time to understand. Hear real stories from warriors. With this year's theme, Global Action, Local Impact, we are reminded progress begins where we are. Better health care, early diagnosis, stronger advocacy. The time is now. Join the movement. Stand with the warriors. Honor the fighters. Spread the word. On June 19, make sickle cell visible.
Join the webinar live on the MTS Facebook page from 4:30 GMT to 6.
Your favorite RLJ Kendeja Resort and Villas is new on the RI Highway, a few minutes drive from the rehab junction, right in front of the Atlantic Ocean. You are assured of a peaceful, serene atmosphere of a home away from home. The ingredients for our Liberian meals are freshly picked from our garden to give you that. Book your upcoming events and leave the rest for us to handle with 100% 415 or email us at reservations@kendejaresort.com.lr. Visit our website on www.rljkendejaresort.com.lr. RLJ Kendeja Resort and Villas, for memories worth repeating.
Okay, thank you. Welcome back to the conversation right on OKFM 99.5. My name is Trokon Wrepue, and a lot to talk about, but we begin with the CDC Youth League on yesterday. The Youth League held a press conference, and at that press conference, there were a lot of revelations. And on the line now is the chairperson of the opposition party Youth League, Emmanuel Johnson. Emmanuel, good afternoon. Welcome. Thanks for joining us.
Well, let me say greetings to you, Trokon, and greetings to the passionate young men, ensuring that the government be aware that we are in a country of law and that any issue that surrounds unlawfulness should not be tolerated in our space. So I'm happy to be on the line with you, my brother. Thank you for the opportunity.
Welcome back to Liberia, Emmanuel. On yesterday, there was this elaborate press conference held on the foundation of falsehood waiting to lie its way to achieving, and this of the people of Liberia. First of all, Emmanuel, what necessitated your press statement, and why all of these claims?
Well, everybody will be concerned, obviously, not just me as a person. If you live in a country that should be a country of law, and individuals should be respectful of the law, and when you see these things happening, it's a grave concern, because when you travel to other countries, you see people living in a functional society. You see the respect for the rule of law. You see decency when you see human beings. And unfortunately, when you come to our country, it's so bad. Things are extremely worse off. And so it was sad, sometimes very unthinkable, when we realized that our brother and friend, a militant of our institution, one who served in the Youth League of Electoral District number 16, Brother John Yanti, after being brought to the country since the 6th of June, and with the prolonged detention since the 6th of June up to present. If we were not to have that press conference yesterday, the police will not forward that individual, our brother, to court today.
Do you know where they got him from?
They took him from Ghana. They took him from Ghana, and they brought him to Liberia. They placed him in a hotel called Star Life Hotel in Painesville. And because of those different issues, his safety, his well-being, the family safety as well, and I want to appreciate the family, for opening up to us. We went to the home of the family. We had meetings with the family, and the family were able to trust us and confide in us and explain every other thing that Gregory Coleman and the NSA did to ensure that we are up to speed with the different information, the coercion, the duress, presenting catch for Yanti to serve as state witness, and all of these different things. Sometimes, it had everyone here to realize that these things are happening in Liberia. It's so sad that we are in a paralyzed state, a state that does not have any respect for the rule of law. So
how did you get information that catch and other kind were presented to the young man you're talking about, Emmanuel?
So the family confided, like I said, in us, and the initial $2,000 that was given to this young man, the family told us they are in possession of the $2,000. So if the government think we are lying or the family is lying, let them challenge it. Why would they wait up to today before forwarding this man to the city court? Since the 6th, the law said to establish, a probable cause, a reasonable period that should be 48 hours. A reasonable period to establish probable causes for the 8 hours. So you kept the man since the 6th of June. Do you know what today's date is? So that means up to 12 days you kept him in detention.
Okay, you
it's a violation of his rights.
You gave a 48-hour ultimatum to the government. What will you do?
Well, the government has, for the most part, start to understand what it means to respect the rule of law, because the fact that you have presented him to the court, that we want the right thing to be done. That's what we want.
Okay,
we are not people of chaos. We want the right thing to be done. So the government have messed up in the first place. The government should not have kept him up to 12 days. The government have to explain why would they keep him up to 12 days. They have to explain to us. Why did they keep him?
We hope to have you in as soon as possible time, Emmanuel, so we expand on some of the issues. But thanks for joining us. Emmanuel Johnson is the chairperson of the CDC Youth League there, speaking with us. We will go over to the National Transit Authority to speak with Santi. He's Obayemi Tapla Santi Jr. He's the head of communications there. I'm endeavoring to contact him, so we talk with him. Right after that, we go to Masa Kane Tele. John Yanti is now being taken to court. What is it that she's hearing from the bailiwick of the court here in Monrovia? On the line now is Obayomi Tapla Santi Jr. He's the head of communications at the National Transit Authority. Santi, good to have you. Welcome.
Good afternoon, Trokon. Good afternoon, brother. It's nice being on your platform. I'm doing okay. And you?
I'm fine. Not as fine as you are. But let's talk about the recent release of the 5-year strategic plan, or the strategic plan coupled with the groundbreaking ceremony that will lead to the construction of the NTA headquarters. Give us a summary of those.
Thank you very much. Like in the words of the managing director of the National Transit Authority, that he who doesn't plan at all plans to fail. So as you may be aware, the National Transit Authority in recent time programs for the construction of its administrative building and the launch of the 5-year strategic plan that is intended to drive the affairs of the National Transit Authority within a period of 5 years. So in that strategic plan, there were four major strategic plans or strategic goals that were highlighted by the managing director.
Okay.
So as we speak, Trokon, that entire strategic plan is currently being used as a driving force towards the achievement of the National Transit Authority within a period of 5 years.
What are those critical areas you'll be looking at in the next 5 years?
So we talk about improving recent infrastructure that comes along with the construction of the administrative building that was just launched or recent, and the recent issue that has to do with the renovation of our terminals across the country. We talk about improving livelihood of our citizens that has to do with the issue of bringing in cargo trucks for the transportation of goods and services across the country from farms to market roads. So those four pillars were outlined by the managing director, and that has been able to set the basis as a driving force for our next 5 years activities of the National Transit Authority.
Great. Let's move on very quickly. A lot of people anticipated that with the level of work you've done and the visibility of some of the progress, you have been named as one of the top performing government agencies, but rather you were in a part. Let's talk about some of the performances at the NTA since the new management came to be.
Yeah, Trokon, I think the presidential secretary is doing very good work. And what they try to do is to make sure that the public institutions are being visible to the public. And all of what it does within the institution are easily accessible to the public. So for the past 1 year, what has happened over the National Transit Authority was to ensure that all of our services are accessible to the public. So, Trokon, you won't believe that over the past 6 years, there have not been a functional website of the National Transit Authority. Today, we have a functional website that outlines all of the happenings at the National Transit Authority. All of the contracts that have been signed, for example, in regards to the bringing of additional fleets with ABK company, as well as the construction of the administrative. All of those contracts is currently published on our website. So, in line with compliance with the presidential secretariat, we have all of our services that will currently run on the National Transit Authority is being published, and we have a very wide billboard in front of our institution that also, all of our activities. We also have our suggestion box. We have an active Facebook page. We have a website account. We have an email that we not currently use to have interaction with the public. So all of what it takes to be in compliance with the presidential secretariat was done by the National Transit Authority, but they have their own style of grading. Well, Trokon, not to forget, when the current administration took over, there were so many key issues that need to be talked about. But what the presidential secretariat is concerned about is to be in compliance with their activities. Trokon, the recalibration of 30,000 fuel tank was a key issue to uplift the operation of the National Transit Authority. The construction of an administrative building was also a key issue. The issue that has to do with the purchase of 40 kVA generator was a key issue, because if you enter the National Transit Authority all the time, it was almost like a domain institution. So all of those points that the current administration needed to have done to ensure that the place could have been functional was achieved.
Great. Where are we now, Santi, with the fleets? I mean, the last time I hosted your bus, we talked about new buses that were in the pipeline to come to Liberia to ease transportation constraints. Where are we? Just a summary, and we let you go.
So the current administration inherited five buses, very functional. As we speak, the current administration is operating very close to 16 fleets across the country. And the contract along with the APA company that is intended to bring in additional fleets in the country is 60. To be particular, 60. And out of those 60 vehicles, the first time we can in the history of the National Transit Authority to introduce the issue of cargo transportation will be introduced by the current administration. So in a period of Pretty close to 1 month, approximately early August, you will begin to see new fleets in the country that will take, that will use to meet up the current transportation constraints across the country.
Okay.
Feeder rules, the issue of cargo transportation, the issue of airport shelters, the issue of reaching to all parts of the country will be addressed within a period of approximately 2 months.
Great. Thank you. Obayomi Tapla Santi Jr. is the head of communications at the National Transit Authority. The breaking news in town is that Mr. John Yanti, the main suspect in the Capitol fire incident, has been taken to court. Which one of the courts? We will join our judicial correspondent, Masa Kanetele. Masa, good afternoon. Welcome to the conversation again. I know you are at the Temple of Justice.
Yes, I am. And good afternoon.
What is this information about the arrest and subsequently taken to court on a heavy police custody of Mr. John Yanti, the man named as the main suspect in the Capitol fire?
Yeah, one of the main suspects. Let's put it that way.
Okay,
because
one of the main suspects. Yeah. Okay.
Yes. John Yanti has been arrested, and we've been carrying stories because the police have already done their investigation and bring each of the defendants to the December 18th attack on the Capitol building. And John Yanti is one of the prime suspects, and according to police, he was on the run. And according to the investigation, it was even District 60 lawmakers, Dixie Thibault, that helped John Yanti and one Amos Cooper as well to escape from Liberia. 2 local troops, and I think that's the article way. And so John has been arrested, and I understand he was arrested in Ghana because I had a chance to talk to him. He talked to me, I interviewed him, and he said he was in Ghana, and yeah, they picked him up from. And sadly, surprisingly, he has said to me that he's been here since the 6th of this month. One of the hotels, he has been there, and they have been in negotiation with him, according to him, to testify for the state. That has been his claim. But as we speak, he is here, and they are preparing to send him to Subish, or the Maruga Central Prison.
Wow. Are we also hearing anything about the government drawing up indictment anytime soon? What are you hearing in the corridors of the court?
Okay, the government has already drew indictment for the defendants. And this morning, the 4 lawmakers were here. They were here because when I was in court the other day with the state prosecutor and the defense, the Ministry of Justice was saying that they want to indict the previous or the already charged defendants and then the 4 lawmakers together. That's what they said. But I haven't had a chance yet to lay out on the indictment because they have to set the indictment on the defendants sometimes even before we get access to it because it's still at court A. But I can tell you the indictment process is done. They had an indictment, and I learned that was the pressure from the defense that they should indict the people since in fact they said they have sufficient evidence so they can indict them so that they can have a speedy trial. So the indictment is ready. However, there's a motion on the ground, and that motion is a challenge that has to do with their bond. You know, that 240,000.
Somebody said it was defective, yes?
So the state got issue with the bond, and that is by law. When they have issue with it, they can raise these concerns. And so today we are around the Temple of Justice. The 4 defendants, the 4 lawmakers were here, and they had sureties brought in to come and stand for them, to come and account for them. And one of the sureties, I'm trying to figure out the name, but he's I think the priest from the Catholic Church. He was here to stand for him, and one other person, one Kofa, and then the representative Kamara had his wife and another person to come and stand for them. So that was going on today. And so tomorrow by 12 noon, the motion will be heard in court. It is predicated upon that the indictment has not been served. The judge instructed that.
So the motion should be heard right after the motion. The indictment was served.
So after the motion is heard, because it's on a bail issue, if the
Okay.
bail is the judge finds it necessary that the bond is unfaulty or it is good, then they can serve the indictment on them and the trial could commence. But John Yanti has been brought in the country.
Master, thank you.
And there was a press conference here today at the Liberian National Police on the video circulating on social media about a baby being found at the cemetery in Broadview. I think you saw that.
Yes.
So the police had a press conference and there have been this rumor. It is true that a baby was found at the Broadview cemetery by a guy and another woman. So they took the baby to the Zone 6, the Broadview police station, and then because of the time, and then there was no female officer because we had a women and children protection pressing commander from there here today at the press conference. One Susie Taylor, she was here and she spoke to the press. According to her, there was no female officer to have left the baby, with that, and so they allowed those that found the baby to stand for the baby and carry them because there has been a rumor that we found the child, so they should gain the child, but it doesn't work that way. The women and children protection is saying that because you found a baby, it doesn't mean the baby belongs to you automatically. There are procedures. And so they are taking the baby from them. The baby, because of the condition, the baby underwent treatment. They took the baby to the hospital, and the baby is in the state possession and it will be turned over to Ministry of Gender and Children Protection. From there, the investigation will be conducted as to who or how that baby got and who all are connected to it.
Thanks for all you do, Massa. Massa Kanatera is our judicial correspondent. John Yanti is being taken to court. He is one of the prime suspects in the capital arson case. That's exactly all we need to know for now. The motion for the bail bond filed by the defendants will be heard on tomorrow. The state said it was defective and it could not go through. So the state was praying the court to have it rejected. So the court is going to hear that motion on tomorrow. Right after that, it is believed that the state will draw up or issue indictment against the 4 defendants. Something dramatic is happening. What's about Priscilla Cooper? We got information that she might be used as a state witness, but we'll hold it like that. And that is not yet confirmed, but we got it from the corridors of the court. Let's watch out and see what's going to happen. This is the OK Conversation on OKFM 99.5. So yesterday, the Civil Service Agency Director General, Mr. Josiah Jockey, made a presentation before the Liberian Senate, and it was a report from what he described as an analysis of the alien work permit for 2024. So in that analysis, a lot was said. It's about 14 pages. I will try to read some, and so you have an understanding of what we've been talking about and some of the issues raised here from the analysis drawn from what is coming from the CSA bus. The introduction says, this report is submitted to the Liberian Senate to provide an in-depth analysis of the issuance of work permits to foreign nationals in Liberia. It evaluates the current practices against the fundamental principles and specific provisions of the Decent Work Act of 2025. Particularly chapters 45.1 and 45.5, which underscores the paramount importance of prioritizing Liberian citizens for employment opportunities in the country. This report aims to identify access to non-compliance, assesses the implementations for the Liberian labor market and propose actionable recommendations to foster a more equitable and sustainable employment landscape for our citizens. Legal framework covering foreign employment. The legal framework covering the employment of foreign nationals in Liberia is enshrined in the Decent Work Act, the DWA, which repealed and replace previous labor laws. The relevant provisions are as follows. So work permit requirement, chapter 45.1 of the Decent Work Act stipulates an employer should not employ a foreign worker unless they pose a current work permit. It shouldn't be they possesses. Unless they possess. But the report is saying possesses, so we have to take a critical look. Unless they possess a current work permit issued by the ministry, for example, the Ministry of Labor. The fundamental requirement serve as the cornerstone for regulating foreign employment and enabling the ministry to monitor the influx of foreign labor and to ensure adherence to national labor standards. Employers are legally obligated to verify the validity of work permits before engaging foreign workers, demonstrating a commitment to due diligence and legal compliance. Priority of Liberian nationals. So that is found in chapter 45.1c, and it's this. The ministry shall not issue a permit to work in Liberia unless it is certified that there is no suitably qualified Liberian available to carry out the work required by the employer. The provision establishes the principle of Liberianization within the labor market. It mandates that the Ministry of Labor thoroughly assess the availability of qualified Liberian nationals for any given role before authorizing the employment of a foreign worker. This is intended to protect and promote local employment, preventing displacement, and fostering the development of indigenous, which is homegrown or local or domestic skills. We move on. Equitable treatment of foreign workers, which is captured in chapter 45.5, affirms as foreign workers resident in Liberia is entitled to enjoy all benefits of this act, provided that the provisions of this act shall not discriminate against Liberian workers. We come to work permit issuance. Overview from January 1, 2024 to December 31, the same year. So in January 2024, the Ministry of Labor issued 656 work permits to foreigners. It issued 299 in February, 264 in March. It issued 1,289 in April. It issued 1,255 in May. In June, it issued 580. In July, 947. In August, 873. In September, 576. In October, 1,406. In November, 911. And in December, 1,047. So, that was the monthly figure, what they issued. We move on. During the specified reporting period, a total of 10,103 work permits were issued to foreign nationals in Liberia, as shown in the monthly distribution above. The work permits issued were in three categories, and these are the three categories. Workload permit, 8,792, accounting for 87.02%. These permits are typically issued for long-term employment in various sectors, subject to the ministry's assessment of local availability. The second is the ECOWAS permit, accounting for 437, that's 38, 4.36%, issued to citizens of member states of the Economic Community of West African States. These permits facilitate regional labor mobility under specific agreements. Then the last is the gratis permit. Here they issued permit to 873 people, accounting for 8.64%, often granted for humanitarian, non-profit, or specialized roles, primarily within non-governmental organizations, NGOs, or for individuals providing services to the Liberian government without direct remuneration from a private employer. So, summary of the work permit issue. So, the people that account for the highest are here in number. Indians constitute the highest. 4,625 Indians were issued work permit. The Turkish The Turkish constitute 1,409. The Chinese constitute 606. Lebanese constitute 604. Then the Zambians come next, 428. South Africans come next, 396 work permits were issued to South Africans. Then from South Africa we come the Ghanaians, our West African brothers. The Ghanaians account for 245 work permits. From Ghana we come to neighboring Guinea here, giving work permit account for 236. From Guinea we go to Nigerians, they account for 180. From Nigerian we come to German, the German nationals here giving work permit were 101. We come to Pakistani, the Pakistani 64, and then Brazilian 43. We move on to Sierra Leonean, the Sierra Leonean here will account for 22, or the rest of them account for 22 each. So from Sierra Leone, American, Syrian, Malagasy, Australian, French, and Irish account for 22, which is just 0.22% of the entire number. So those are the categories of work permits issued to people. So the 10 top nationals that are issued work permits in the country are in this category. They are the Indians. Indians are always top in there. The Indians, the Turkish, the Chinese, the Lebanese, the Zambian, the South African, the Ghanaian, the Guinean, Nigerian, German, and the Pakistani. Those are the top people, top nationals who are issued work permits. And when you heard from the CSA boss on yesterday, just at ArcelorMittal alone, there is a company subcontracted by ArcelorMittal to carry on some of its activity called AFCON. AFCON alone has over 3,000 Indians in its employ. And we are wondering as to whether those 3,000 jobs distributed on the Indians and the work permit given them, whether Liberians are not qualified when the law says we shall have done all the due diligence to know that there is no qualified Liberians before giving out those jobs. So that is it for that. We come a little bit down. Down and we talk about job reserve for Liberian nationals. Listen, it says these roles are designated exclusively for Liberian citizens across all skill levels, including unskilled, skilled, and highly skilled positions. The underlying principle is that the skills required for these roles are readily attainable through local education, vocational training, apprenticeships, and accumulated work experiences within the country. Permit issuing in reserve jobs. So job that Liberians can do for which they issue permit in that category. You know, there are 3 categories that we name. So there's a total of 7,032 permits were issued. Remember, we named the category. So in that first category, which is a regular category, a total of 7,000 plus work permits were issued. No, a total of 8,000 plus. But the ministry is saying, the CSA is saying, out of that 8,000 plus work permit issue, 7,000 of the permits are job reserved for Liberians. So if we have not given the jobs to foreigners, 7,032 Liberians who have been employed. So the regular permit, they issue 6,156 of those jobs for the regular permit should have been reserved for Liberians. They take and give it to foreigner. That is what the report is saying. The ECOWAS permits, out of all the permits issued from ECOWAS, 400 and some more, 314 are jobs Liberians can do, and the people of those skilled labors are available. They took the jobs and gave it out. And that those permits were issued by the current Ministry of Labor leadership. Gratis permits. Almost 800 plus they gave. 562 there are supposed to be for Liberians because according to this report, they are jobs that skilled Liberians are available to do. So the analysis says The fact that the 7,032 work permits were issued to foreign nationals and for roles explicitly designed as reserved for Liberian nationals, it is a matter of grave concern. The figure represents approximately 69.5% of all permits issued, indicating a significant potential deviation from the statutory requirement to prioritize Liberian labor. Trokon is not the one saying it. It is the report from the CSA saying this. This raises fundamental questions about the efficiency of the no suitability qualified Liberians available assessment and the overall enforcement mechanisms. Job open to all Liberians and non-Liberians. So in this category, it encompasses jobs that are often to both Liberian citizens and foreign nationals. These roles typically require highly specialized skills sets, unique expertise, or fundamental leadership capabilities that may not be widely available within the Liberian labor market. So these ones are understandable. If they reach these technical, high-skilled jobs and Liberians are not available, yes, people can take over those jobs. But again, to have all these 7,000 plus work permits, and the labor ministry will issue these permits, they will even go before the Senate to admit that they issue all these permits, and the Senate is asking what category of jobs for which you gave these permits. They are yet to categorize those jobs and put them into perspective. This is where the entire Senate is asking these people, and they brought in Mr. Josiah Chokar as an expert witness. And I heard the labor minister say, in a play, he's not supposed to go there. No, Mr. Minister. The civil service too has a role. The civil service has a role. When the documents or the documentation and everything leading to the issuance of these work permits are readily available, or they are available to the CSA, and they were called to give some expert analysis, and they compile this report, the only thing you can do is to challenge it. But you've not challenged your report. You only say, they're not supposed to go there. In another area, they're a private sector job we're talking about. But if these are the facts, and you even admitted at the Senate that you've given out 8,000 to 10,000 plus work permits, or let's say 8,000 plus work permits, and there are reports coming up that almost 7,000 plus of these work permits and the work available are work Liberians are able to do. But you still went ahead and you issued these permits. If it is lie, come to Mr. Josiah Jokai. But I don't really want to believe that he will come here and tell lies, especially when he's before the Liberian Senate. We implore the Senate, we call on the Senate to do its best to go to the bottom of this. Forget about these people who are talking, and the other person want to wish on somebody and blah, 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 blah. Look, that discussion that is ongoing is about giving jobs to Liberians who are from opposition and ruling party, no opposition, and Liberians who are qualified. It is about who's wish hunting who. Now, if the jobs are available and Liberians are here that can do those jobs, by next year, work permits issued to the people should not be renewed. That is exactly what we're about. Who wish on? Nobody's wish on anybody here. And we will keep talking about this until the right things are done. We'll keep talking about it. And the leadership team there at the Ministry of Labor, headed by Councillor Cooper Crab, will have to wake up and do something. Because if the best thing happen, he is the one who takes the glory. The country will say, honor whose administration? They will say Minister Cooper Crab. When I say honor Nyombi Kanga administration, or honor DeLong administration, or honor Momo Saros, or honor Berson Gaffin, and the rest of the senators there. So the right thing should be done. Let's look at these categories of work permits we've issued. Let's re-examine them. Are there jobs among these 7,000 plus permits we've issued that Liberians can do? If yes, as of next year, January, people who occupy those positions are foreigners should be gone. Their work permit shouldn't be renewed because Liberians themselves also need jobs. Of course, those work permits should not be renewed. We leave it like that because we're running out of time, and We'll be back on tomorrow. The more detail we get, the more conversation we'll have on it. So the House of Representatives. I just passed over yesterday and read a communication where Representative Jeremiah Sokan had written the House asking for certain portion of the Local Government Act to be amended. And the sole purpose of the call for that amendment is to give the legislative caucuses of the counties the oversight power to preside, to make a decision, to be a part of how county monies are expended. I'll take it back to that, sir. Why? There are proven records, and history will teach us how lawmakers and legislative caucuses in the past have behaved when it comes to how county sittings used to be organized and how some will manipulate these county sittings. There used to be complaint about how some of the lawmakers, about how some of the legislative caucuses, the lawmakers there will take their personal people, brainwash them, take them to the county sitting, and allow them to make decisions, some that are not even in the interest of the people. I know plenty districts and plenty areas you go, there are the people build town hall. Goats are sleeping under those town hall because it is not a priority project of that particular location or that particular region. Maybe the people need a health facility. Maybe they need a water. They were not consulted. When you build town hall, as the end result, goats, sheep, the cattle are having parties under these town halls. Some places, you build something that the people do not need. It's embarrassing. So we have to have a national conversation on this. They are pushing. Mr. Sokan, representative, is pushing that the county legislature, look, you don't need to be in that law or to have that law amended to have your oversight. As a lawmaker, that oversight responsibility given you is given by the Constitution. It is a legal mandate that can be exercised. Do you need a law to tell you? Because you can summon, as a caucus, you can summon the county council and ask them to give a detailed report of how county monies are expended. What are the projects? Match the money, match the projects with the value for money and all of those. And you can still play that oversight role. But sir, you need to give us detailed explanation. We disagree with you that there should be an amendment. Let us allow that Local Government Act to be the way it is. And leave the amendment and yet put a lawmaker there to have an oversight. No. Let's leave that Local Government Act the way it looks. Let's see how it works in the next 2-3 years. The Ministry of Internal Affairs will go around the country to vet these people. Put them to that council. You have the legal right as lawmakers, as legislative caucuses, to summon these people, to ask them the hard question and trace the projects they've done and look at it with the money they've spent and see whether it's worth it. That's the work you have to do. Nobody need to argue. You don't need to amend any lawyer to do that, because we have had a very terrible experience. It has resulted to chaos in some counties. It has resulted to legal battles. It has resulted to a lot of things, unfulfilled promises, and misdirected priorities. It has resulted to those. So let us give the Local Government Act a chance. Let's look at it for 2-3 years and see how these county councils will perform. If they are not performing, or a year or two from now, then we begin to have a conversation on how to handle it. They've not even gone 2 years yet. They just started the county council. Blue. The man first say they want to amend the law so the lawmakers can have their say into it too. You got plenty things to do. Don't overburden yourself. Some of the things you got to do here, plenty. Some of the things you got to do Very plenty. Very, very plenty. And you guys need to focus. The burden you guys got on you as lawmakers are many. You got to be focused on the leader. Don't come to sit in Bene. Okay. Representative Romeo Oscar Quaya is District 1 Representative, Sino County. He will be my guest. When he arrives here, we were taking plenty of things to know about Sino County, and we'll have him on as soon as he arrives. But while he's on his way, I believe he's on his way, we'll take a few calls and hear from Liberians. What do they think? That presentation at the ministry by the CSA, who's that, Julius? Okay, let me talk to him. Can I just call him straight? Okay. Let me talk to Julius quickly, since we still have a little bit of time. Let me talk to Julius for a couple of minutes. Right after that, we'll take your calls. Julius is in China. He's on the vice president delegation to China. And I saw a nice write-up. Julius. Okay, Julius. Thanks for joining us. Julius, welcome.
Yes, let me say good night from my end and good afternoon. Back there in Liberia, it's 11:58 p.m. here in China. It's almost midnight.
It's 3:58 here, Julius. Welcome again. Give us a little bit of understanding of what today's work was like in China when you were on the delegation of the vice president.
Yes, so earlier this morning we visited the Qingdao port, which is a subsidiary of the Shandong Port Group. The Qingdao port is touted as the first fully automated port in the whole of Asia, and one of the few in the world. All of the operations they carry out there are fully automated. I posted a video on the station's page earlier about how driverless vehicles are moving containers here and there, cranes that are self-driving cranes, offloading and loading containers onto ships and all those kinds of things. So the management of the port has expressed interest in, establishing sisterly relations with ports in Liberia. They want to work with Liberia. They are a very huge province with a whole lot of business ability. Different companies are out of here. And if the Liberian government may deal with the Shandong group in terms of the yellow machines, perhaps it is through this port that they are going to pass. So yeah, it was a tour to see their facilities and to see the automated system, how it works. It's just so breathtaking how it goes. That was part one of the day.
Mm-hmm.
Then we later on went to the office of the governor of the province of Shandong. We remember I told you the other day that Shandong has over 100 million people as a province. And this city alone that we are in, the Qingdao city, and Qingdao city, as a matter of fact, also has the own name Qingdao, and it is the home of the Qingdao beer.
Oh.
Yes, that's where Qingdao beer originates from. I was able to see the headquarters, took the pictures and all that.
Okay.
So yeah, we went to. Yeah, and this city has over 10 million people, as a matter of fact. It has a GDP of over $232 billion.
Two times Liberia's population in that one city.
Yeah. Just in this one city. Extremely developed as well.
Okay.
With a whole lot of businesses operating out of here. So, like I was saying, we went to the governor's office for a meeting between him and the vice president and his delegation. As media, we were not part of that meeting. We don't know what was said there. But when the VP came out, we asked him what it was about, and he spoke about, establishing deeper
relations, they are good in the areas of manufacturing, in agriculture, in fisheries. So they, as a government, given the follow-up capacity of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, will see how best they can try to tap into knowledge. It's not about asking for aid and help and all of that, but it's about what can we give, what can you give, in terms of trade relations in these kinds of areas, trainings, and all those kinds of things. So that is what the meeting was about. Earlier this evening, there was a banquet here that they also attended in honor of the Vice President. So that's what today was like.
Thank you, Julius. Have a restful night and wish you all of the best tomorrow.
Yeah, certainly. So take care.
Julius J is there in China with the Vice President of the Republic of Liberia, and they are on the entire redux of this yellow machine thing, and nice reports coming from there. Let's talk to at least 3 persons. Hello?
Good afternoon, Trokon.
Good afternoon. Let's hear you just a minute, please.
Thank you. My name is Emmanuel Colley, and I joined the conversation on District 13.
Go ahead.
Hello,
Go ahead. You're live,
hello.
please.
Yeah, thank you. Let me appreciate you for your talking point in the afternoon. This country, Minister Kubakra, I think the president made a mistake by appointing a man as Minister of Labor. How can you sell almost 10,000 work permits to foreign nationals, coaching job, sweeping job, carpenter job, then giving work permit to foreign to take over that job? Why we have qualified Liberians that can do that work? I think that men need to be changed, or the president of Spain.
Okay, thank you. Hello?
Trokon.
Let's hear you, please. Go ahead.
Thank you. I'm Emmanuel P. and I call you from a resident along the Wrepue Avenue in Trokon.
Emmanuel, let's hear you. Been a while.
Yeah, Trokon. Well, Trokon, I listened to your various talking points, and quite frankly, I want to deal with the issue of the work permit.
Yeah, Emmanuel, just do a summary.
Thank you. I listened to the labor minister when he said the issue of work permits and other things have nothing to do with the CSA. But while it's true that I agree with him on that, but I think it is important that whenever they are issuing work permits out, they need to do it with due diligence. Now, let's consider this first one as a mistake and a learning curve for the Ministry of Labor.
Thank you, Emmanuel. Our guest is already here, the Honorable Wrepue. He's from Sino County, District Number 1, and it's a pleasure to have him here on today. I've heard about him from the time I was a child, coming up to this age now, but he's here in my studios, and we are going to have a frank conversation on how work is like up Capitol Hill, back home in Sino County. Lots of developments there to talk about. And of course, he's going to be sharing with us his experience as a man who served in government before, in other capacities before becoming representative. Sir, it's a pleasure to have you here today, and thanks for joining us in the studios on a very short notice. Some preparation still being made, but this is the conversation. And my name is Trokon. Okay, while those preparations are ongoing, let's welcome you. Thanks for joining us.
Yeah, Trojan, right?
Trokon.
Trokon. It's K-R-O-N?
Yeah, T-R-O-K-O-N.
K-O-N, yeah. Okay, good. It's a pleasure being here.
How was it?
Quiet, cool.
When last were you in Sino?
I was in Sino the 5th of May. I went the 5th of May. I came back on the 7th. And since I've not gone back.
Okay. How did you leave your people? And I talk about your people, the district you represent, because I know when you're in Sino, it is a heartbeat. It's the first place you will go before any other area.
Well, the people of Sino, they're okay, they're good, they're fine, they're peaceful. And we're being prayed for that we can do the job for which we were elected. And we ourselves will be prayed for to give them long life and prosperity to see the outcome of the hands of their work.
You have been around for a very long time, and coming from Sino County, one of the counties in our country that is left behind in terms of developments. We want to talk about road infrastructure. You want to talk about companies that will provide better paying jobs for our people. You want to talk about creating a little bit of middle income class and all of those. Even health and education. What were the areas you know or saw lacking for which you say, I'm going to the capital to represent my people, and by my presence there, we will be able to, deal with some of the issues, some of the challenges?
So, Trokon, quite frankly, Sino issue or Sino situation is not peculiar to Sino. It's generically across the country, and there are challenges.
I think the headphone is okay if you want to use it, no problem.
Road networks, health care delivery challenges, school, agriculture, job creation, the youth, the disabled community. The challenges across the country. So we're not specific to Sino, but we are doing our utmost to ensure that those ones that we can help to do, at our level, we do them. So yeah, the road conditions are bad, but at least they're not as bad as they have been in the past, even though it's raining now. So I can't be so specific about why it looks like since I level 3-4 weeks ago.
Since it is a mud road,
then
the rain is coming.
The rain is coming, and the rain now, has created, a whole lot of floods across the country. In fact, one of the bridges, in my district got washed away.
We'll talk about that
yesterday. And so, but we thank God that our people are okay, that they are marching with changing times. And as time goes on, the situation will be better.
Okay, Mr. Representative, when you go to that district, as you make a tour speaking with your people, whether the young people, the elders, what are you hearing? What are their concerns?
Oh, they want better life. They want improved environment. They want to have a health care delivery system on agriculture. We want to make sure that girls' education is available. Road network, our people have afforded the opportunity to be self-actualized, meaning be able to create life for themselves. So those are things we hear, and those are things we hear everywhere you went in the country.
Yeah, the challenges are enormous.
Yep.
I was in Sino County, was it last year? Yes, when the government began doing the roads. I toured, I left Nima County, passed through Grangedia. I went to Maryland County to do an assessment of the road because there were rumors of, the road caught, the road ain't caught, and blah, blah, and all of those. And those were in town. So I came back, I made the second trip, passing Buchanan, going through RTR way, and then on to Greenville. The roads, in between there were good. Now that the rains are coming, it might get a little bit deplorable because it is not paved.
Sure, but we're thankful that at this moment it's still pliable. Okay, before of now, if you went to Sino in the Southeast, if you're not lucky, you meet a truck, huge truck carrying plank or carrying some local communities, and you get stuck in the mud or it developed mechanical problem in the mud, then you will stay there because usually when no cars get spoiled, in the mud, in terrible terrains, they can't move them. They will sit there to go for spare parts, they will repair them, they move before you move, and there are no bypass. So those are the kind of things that we've been experiencing. But at least to date, I'm not getting any complaint, that the road is so deplorable, but it's still showing here. Because the rainy season, okay, in the future, the climate change, that has shifted the rain pattern in this country. It runs into maybe even because our rainfall pattern from April, May, October. But there's times when it runs into December, November. Okay, so we can't speak so loud about it at this point, but we are hoping that things will be better.
And you could also be hoping that the Ministry of Public Works will be present on our road at all times, so that when there is a cut, they're able to do a repair and so.
I think the road corridor from Buchanan to Sando and onward to Grand Crew. I think I'm told, that it's been vetted, because this morning I went to the Minister of Public Works when I heard about the road condition, and then unfortunately the minister himself, Minister of Private Giddings, was out of the country.
Yes, he was the vice president.
Yes, then I called Minister Tema. Okay, he was not being at the World Bank. So then I went to her saying, Minister Tapla. Okay, but then she also was at the capital when I went there.
You weren't lucky.
But then I ran into one young guy. His name is Isaac V.
Okay.
I'm told he's the assistant minister for rural development. So he drove me through, and the discussions, what they're doing, what they've been doing, and we discussed briefly about, a quick impact, intervention that could be made on the Platform Bridge thing. We talk about it. Yes, they showed me that he will get back to me as soon as Minister Tema returns. Okay, in fact, they were also, and contemplating as to what to do. So I know that he has told me that there is a bidding process for that bridge, that corridor, but because the PVC thing is being digitized, so you apply online and there, all lot of, delays and challenges, but it's being captured.
Okay.
So, but what I was telling him, let's do what we can do now in a few days so that we can cross while we go a better one to come.
Great. So we're coming to the Plumson River. We understand it connects Lower and Upper Tatway.
Yep.
That is in your district. How important is that bridge, by the way?
Very important. Very important is an statement. Yeah, more than important. Because it connects about over 25 to 30,000 community dwellers in that part of the county, and that's the one that links, and Totmonville onto Granville from up, coming from, you go to Wisetown, you go to Trokon, you go to Wrepue Town and other kind of big towns back there. That's the only route they can take to come to, to Granville.
It could store economic activities.
Yeah, definitely. A strong movement, it will bring, suffering to the people. Can you imagine that if you watch the video footage, people got to tow the motorbike that technically, before it gets in the water, they got to carry a motorbike. The way you take the motorbike like that, you can't even take loads on that like that.